When I met Tyler, I was wearing a Veins of Jenna t-shirt, and
we had an hour-long conversation about that. That's right.
His guitarist Mark was just floored, and I never seen anybody get so excited over a Veins of Jenna t-shirt. And I thought, man, these guys are deep, dude. This is great.
Yeah.
We should talk also. There's a few things I want to cover. One, going back to your connection to Jason. Obviously, he's an influence on you, vocally and otherwise. But you have him spiritually. He does a guest vocal on this album. Tell us about that.
Yeah.
Fatal Moon. The song is called the Rodeo Clown. Rock and Roll Rodeo Clown.
Yeah.
Tell me that story.
I'm honored that he was willing to do that. That was very cool. And it's still a bragging point on the album. I'm like, hey,
well,
Jason,
I think that we should uncover the fact that do you remember I was a little bit, came in biting and scratching a little bit?
Yeah. I remember, I think if I remember it correctly, I sent you the lyrics and you said, me singing these in first person hits a little too close to home. Can I sing them in third person?
Well, Rock and Roll Rodeo Clown sounds like I'm wearing a clown suit
right
inside some liner notes written terribly inside of a Dangerous Toys album cover.
Correct. Yeah.
That's that's the scenario. My brain took me there, and I apologize that my brain took me there. I should have just been easy, forthcoming, and say, sure, man, because I have love for you and I want to help you out. And why would I? It's flattering. It's love. You're celebrating something that we, not just me, have either had a hand in starting a legacy that you're prolonging by throwing fucking tons of gas on my fire, right? And in a good way, right? So yeah, I was a little Dave didn't, I don't think Dave really knew this, but yeah, I think I remember responding with something like, are you sure?
I love this. So there was some negotiation going on. There was some, you had to come to some sort of creative compromise.
I just changed a few words.
Right. I love that.
I remember replying and saying, you can rewrite the whole thing if you want. Like,
just sing on it.
Just get your Vox on there.
Just fart and burp on there and it'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. The other thing that I find, there's a lot that I find interesting about this album, because as we started the show, I told you it's eye candy, it's ear candy, but you do a cover of the Wasp song, Sleeping in the Fire.
We do, yeah.
And I love your arrangement. You totally dismantled it and kind of did it in a different way. Tell me about the inspiration for doing that and the thought process and maybe the discussions with your band. Like, should we do this? If we do it, should we change it? Tell me about that.
Initially, I didn't want to put it on there. I was super, apprehensive about it. I thought, this is a legendary song by a legendary artist. We are going to get slaughtered for even attempting to do it. There's the classic, they're doing a cover. It's the sophomore album. There's a cover on there. Here comes the filler. Like, there's all these things I'm thinking about. I'm thinking, the critics are going to rip it apart, blah, blah, blah. And originally, that was just a thing I was going to put on a solo record. I've got this solo album I'm doing that's kind of acoustic-y rock, kind of in that style. So I went in and recorded my parts in the studio, and I just hit Mark up. He was still living in LA at the time. And I said, can you come by after work and just lay down a solo? And he's like, yeah, I'd love to do that. So he comes by and plays a solo. And Mark really liked the song. He was, listening to it. He was like, man, this is cool. I think this is good. And then I just needed a simple drum beat on it because the drums are pretty understated on it. So I hit up Jake. Obviously, he was like, you want to throw down some drums? And he was thrilled to do it. So he came into the studio, laid down his parts. And at that point, the guys were like, we like this song. It's got Leather Duchess members on it. Why don't we put it on the album? So I was like, okay, yeah, I might entertain the thought of that. Originally, I thought, okay, let's make it the side B of the 7-inch single. That way, if it does bomb, it's off the record. We can just forget about it and, shove it under the rug. But they were like, no, man, I think let's put it on the album. So I listened to it a few more times. I even sent a version to Jason.
Yeah,
and
let me chime in a little bit. Yeah, he sent it to me, but I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Tyler, but I think that it didn't have the harmony. It wasn't incorrect. It was just, it felt unfinished, because that harmony is what separated the verse from the chorus. And it was uplifting when the chorus would lift with that little harmony, that minor third happening in the choruses. And that was really my only suggestion. I go, I like it that it's different. Of course, I may have even said this, I wouldn't have had the balls to sing it in my chest and an octave lower and sing it, for lack of a better term, of course emotional, but in my normal voice, right?
Right.
Because, that Janis Joplin shit that's way up there is kind of where Blackie sings that, of course.
Yeah.
We're talking about Sleeping in the Fire, by the way. This conversation is Sleeping in the Fire. So when you think like that, I wasn't shocked or taken aback. It was just more like, no, this I can see this working, but you got to have the harmony, and that was really my only.
Yeah, that's exactly how it went. Jason was like, man, I would add the harmonies to the choruses. So of course I'm like, Jason says add harmonies. Okay, all harmonies.
Still waiting for my advisory check.
Right. Yeah. I'm like, guys, Jason says we got to add harmonies. So get in there.
Yeah.
For me personally, it's a highlight of the record. So I'm glad you included it. And I think the reason that it's a highlight for me is, number one, I love the original song. Yeah. Number two, you gave it a totally different arrangement, which was a ballsy move, and it works. So it's not just a cover, and it's, Wasp, of course, a well-known band. Sleeping in the Fire, maybe not their best-known song. I love the fact that it's a cover tune, but it's not, a blatantly obvious cover tune, and you didn't stay true to the original style. So you took a chance on a song, you made it your own, as the saying goes, and I think it works because it's not an obvious choice, and you change the arrangement, and I love it.
Thank you, man. Again, that's a heavy compliment, and I do appreciate that. I wasn't about to try to be Blackie. I think he's one of the best vocalists and songwriters of all time.
He's understated as a great,
totally is,
great man.
And it's like, I'm not even going to try to touch that.
I was sorry to interrupt, Tyler. It's interesting to me, and I don't think either. Well, how could you? So the week that you sent that to me, I saw a video from the Lost Well. We're all familiar with the Lost Well venue here in Austin, Texas. That's well beloved. I saw a band. I want to say it was Ancient Wisdom.
Oh yeah.
Nathan Opposition is the singer. He has a project with the Cassius King guys, and their version of, I'm going to get this, they're called, anyway, it's one of Dan Lorenzo's projects, and the name is escaping me at the moment. Ancient Wisdom at the Lost Well is playing live, and they posted a song, and they were doing Sleeping in the Fire. The same week that you sent me, it's like, wow, Sleeping in the Fire is like on everyone's radar right now. That's really, really strange.
Yeah.
So little footnote.
There's a female artist that does a version of it, and she really kind of breaks it down and changes the arrangement. And of course, it's a female vocal, which is a sharp contrast to Blackie.
I think I know who you're talking about. There's a version on YouTube where she's just playing piano.
Yeah, I think so. It just sounds angelic, which is the exact opposite of Blackie. It's weird how sometimes, usually, if somebody's going to do a cover, I'm usually skeptical. And then if they do it, they're faithful to the original. It's like, okay, nice job. They didn't butcher it. But then if you take a risk and try to change the arrangement, then you're up against the old, oh man, they screwed up a perfectly good song. So it's a fine balancing act. And when it works, it's really special. And I think in your case, it works in spades. I love it. It's a highlight of the record for me.
That's very cool. I'll have to tell the guys, y'all were right.
Yeah. So I want to cover a little more ground because there's so much.
Really quick, I had to look it up because I'm dumb. The band with Dan Lorenzo and Nathan Opposition is called Vessel of Light. I apologize, guys. I should have known that. But I want to say that Nathan was in Ancient Wisdom, and that's who it was that was covering that, just to get my fact checker going on. I'm sorry, Dave. Go ahead.